Mike Pachelli here. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be talking about the Beatles recording of Another Girl that they did on February 15th and 16th of 1965. Now, originally the Beatles were a three-guitar band with John, Paul, and George playing guitar, and Stuart Sutcliffe was on bass. But when Stuart unfortunately passed away back in 1962, Paul reluctantly became the bass player because, well, John and George wouldn't do it. But on Ticket to Ride and Another Girl in 1965, Paul got to show off his lead guitar prowess. The song was written 100% by Paul while he was on vacation in a villa in Tunisia, and that villa had a really nice tiled bathroom and the acoustics were perfect for writing a song, and that's where Paul wrote Another Girl. Paul had an open relationship with his girlfriend Jane Asher, and he has said, "I wasn't married to Jane. I was pretty free. I remember John very much envying me. He said, 'Well, if you go out with another girl, what does Jane think?' And I said, 'Well, I don't care what she thinks. We're not married. We've got a perfectly sensible relationship.'" So on February 15, 1965, the Beatles are in EMI Studio 2 with Paul on bass, John on electric guitar, George on acoustic, and Ringo on drums. They rehearse the song for quite a while, and then it takes them one take to get the track completed. The song is in the key of A, but it switches to the key of C during the bridge, and that's kind of a key change that John also used 4 days later on his song, You're Going to Lose That Girl. Then they did overdubs. Paul overdubbed his lead vocal, John and George overdubbed the background vocals, then Paul double-tracked his lead vocal, and it's a little out of sync, that's why it sounds like an echo. John also double-tracked his background vocals, and then George did a number of attempts to try to get a little guitar ending at the end. He did actually 10 takes to get the final little end riff done. But on February 16th, the next day, Paul decided that he wanted to overdub guitar throughout the entire song, and he redid that ending guitar part. So it's Paul McCartney playing lead guitar on Another Girl. About Paul's playing, he said, "Bold mistakes, that's me. I specialize in bold mistakes. Because you've got the opportunity to go back in. I would have with those couple of licks that I missed. You can see I got stuck. You go back in and fix that. But there's kind of an innocence. No, he didn't make a mistake. He was just enthusiastic." They mimed Another Girl in a scene in the movie Help where Paul's pretending to play guitar on a bikini-clad girl who is said to be Jenny Landry, but nobody knows that for sure. You know, George is pretending to play Paul's guitar parts and John's on drums. You know the scene. But fun facts to know and tell. When I used to live in Florida, I got to hang out with George's sister Louise, and she told me that she was considered to be that bikini-clad girl. But George Harrison wouldn't have it because he didn't want his sister, to be seen in a bikini in a film. But Louise Harrison is in the movie. In the scene where they're in the pool, she's in the crowd. The song was mixed on February 18th. And it was released in the US on August 13th, 1965 on the Help album. So that's the backstory. Let's get started. George Harrison is playing his Gibson Jumbo J160E on Another Girl. And the reason we know that is because of George Martin's handwritten notes about the session. On songs like this, I like to use a really thin pick. This is a 0.46 millimeter to get as little pick noise as you can. So to play the song, you'll need these chords. You'll need an A, a D, you'll need this G. On the bridge, we'll switch to this G. You're going to need a D7, first position E chord, an E7. You'll also need this E chord a little later. And at the beginning of the bridge, you'll need a C chord with a G on top. Okay, now the strumming pattern really could have been John playing it because it's similar to the kind of things John did. But George starts on the and to 4, and there's pretty much two figures really that he plays. It's either 1, 2, 3, and 4 and, or and 2, 3, 4. Happens a lot. Is there another one? Yeah, there's 1 and 2, 3, 4. But at the very beginning, he starts on the and to 4, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. and then the verse. So up to speed, of course, it would be like. And for the verse, and that's the verse 1. Why don't I do it really slow for you one time too? Here's verse 1. 3, 4. Two, 3, 4. Now on verse 2 and 3, which are very similar, there's a little syncopation like on measure 4. So it starts off like this. It's 'So you see on that 4th measure, it's just you play on the and of 1, like on that D, 1. And just like John would do, George has a motif going, so on the 8th measure, he does the same thing on the D. And on the 6th measure on the G. So very slowly, verse 2 would be like this. 3, 4. And my recommendation is to play, the upbeats strumming up and the downbeats strumming down. Then when you get to that, when you have to play on the and of 1, you're used to playing on the upbeat. So on the bridge, it starts on the C, and you play the C adding the G. So the bridge is, and then you don't do the double D on the G, just open B string. So you move, these 2 fingers down to the G, Right? And like I said, verse 2 and 3 are pretty much the same. But onward to verse 4, I'll do verse 4 nice and slow for you. 2, 3, 4. That's the only time you hear that G sharp on an E chord. Now he may have been playing his E's up here the whole time, but the only time you hear the is right there. And then the ending, 3 times of. Nice and simple George Harrison strumming part. Paul McCartney is playing lead guitar on his Epiphone Casino through a Vox amp. And I've got mine doing the same thing. And for the most part, he's pretty much playing in this little simple box on frets 7 and 5 on the guitar, where he uses like an A, F sharp, E, D, C, A, and G. So that's the little box he plays out of. He does go up to the 10th fret and bend this D, and also he's going to play this C, and he gets the A there. But when the song starts, the first lick he plays is on beat 2, and it sounds like this. 1. And his vibrato is very quick and nervously shrill. But slowly that lick would be 1. But he doesn't play till the after the first stop, you know. And he plays this line. He plays. So slowly that is 3, 4. On verse 2, he plays on the 4th measure, and he plays just little lines. He starts on the beat 3 of measure 4. It's 1, 2. Then you hear a little flub note on the third measure there. You hear a little A. And then on the 4th measure, which is actually the 8th measure, you hear like that. And then onward, before the bridge, he plays this line. He plays okay. On the 8th measure of the bridge, he bends up on this 10th fret, and full bends. It's full measure of a bend. It's. And he actually flubs this last note. You just kind of hear it. So it's more like something like that. Then on the 4th measure of verse 3, he goes up to the 10th fret on the E string, bends that up, and gets the A on the 10th fret of the B string. Then his next bunch of licks are the most aggressive. They're double stops on the 7th fret of the G and the B string, and it's 1. So very slowly that would be 1. Okay? Then on bridge 2, at the very end, he does a little triplet figure, bending on the 10th fret. So it's so chord note triplets. Ba 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 bidda doo doo. So slowly. And then on the 8th measure of the verse 4, a little on the F sharp, just bend it slightly on beat 3, 1, 2. And when it gets to the D7, he kind of does again. Very subtle like. And then on the very end, when they're singing Another Girl 3 times, he plays all through that and does a little bit on the ending. And it sounds like this. It's 1. Kind of retards the ending. So nice and slowly, that whole end bit would be 1. Charts and tabs will make that a lot clearer, but that's the lead guitar part Paul played on Another Girl. John Lennon is playing his Fender Sonic Blue Stratocaster on Another Girl, bridge pickup, and I suggest use the round part of a pick. John used oval picks and sometimes the round part of a regular pick, and if you do that, well, you'll sound more like John Lennon. The part is very simple. You just play on beats 2 and 4, pretty much 3 and 4 note string chords. So an A like this, and a D, sometimes the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings, sometimes the 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st strings. And I'll show you that in a minute. And let's see, you're going to need a G add 9. And those are the chords that will get you through the intro and the verses. So he starts on beat 2 of the first measure and just plays on beat 2 and 4, like I said. So it's 1. And then the verse begins. Now on the verse, whenever you hear this A ring, this A note on the E string ring out, then you're going to need that A note on the D voicing chord. So like this, you play from A to G add 9, from A to D with this A on top ringing for all the chords. So it's like 1. Then the inside D, just on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string. And he doesn't play on the E chord, for I have got. And that's it. That's every single verse. Do I need to do it slow? I guess I will. Here's very slow, the verses. 2, 3, 4, 1. And that'll get you through all the verses. Now on the bridge, he's kind of implying a C6 chord, like this. But he doesn't play the full chord, then implying a G chord. Back to the C6. And then an E7 and an A. But what he does is he just plays the top 2 strings, like of the C6 chord on beats 2 and the end of 3. So it's 1. And then on the G. Now the first time this E happens, he doesn't play till the end of 3. Just does 2 open strings. He might get momentarily lost. So it's 1, 2, 3. And then back to. And then an E7. 1. But on the second bridge, he actually continues that form on the first E7. So the second bridge is 1. Got that? And then verse 4, just the same like all the other verses, 1. For I have got. And that's it. He doesn't play the last chord. Very, very simple part that all of you could probably get immediately. Well, I put it all together in a sound alike so you can see how all 3 guitar parts fit together so nicely. So let's have a look at this. For I have got
say that I've got nobody but you. But as from today, well, I've got somebody that's new. I ain't no fool and I don't take what I don't want, for I have got another girl, another girl. She's sweeter than all the girls that I met, quite a few. Nobody in all the world can do what she can do. And so I'm telling you, this time you better stop, for I have got another girl, another girl who will love me till the end. Through thick and thin, she will always be my friend. I don't want to say that I've been unhappy with you, but as from today, well, I've seen somebody that's new. I ain't no fool and I don't take what I don't want, for I have got another girl, another girl who will love me till the end. Through thick and thin, she'll always be my friend. I don't want to say that I've been unhappy with you, but as from today, well, I've seen somebody that's new. I ain't no fool and I don't take what I don't want, for I have got another girl, another girl, another girl.
Well, there you have it, a Beatles song circa 1965 featuring the quirky lead guitar work of Paul McCartney. I suggest you download my charts and tabs at MikePachelli.com, learn all three parts, play along with my sound alike, and you'll get it just like the Beatles. And I really appreciate your consideration in downloading some charts and tabs to support my work that way. So have fun playing this great old song, and until next time, I'm Mike Pachelli. Thanks for hanging out with me.